So I was driving right along here, cruising along, and we had a huge cow accident. And that's the story I'm going to tell you in today's video. ¿Estás bien?
Ay, sí, solo que se me atravesó eso y no lo vi.
No, man, sí, fue bien negro.
Y luego venía corriendo así. Y yo,
See, there's no street lights, but there's little ranches and stuff in here. And like most areas in the States, you are responsible if your animal gets on a public highway, on a state highway, and causes an accident. The problem is when this happens, people just don't claim the animal. I'm coming along, it's dark, there's no street lights here, and a black cow zips right out in front, and it missed me by about this much. I look over, and she just reams that cow, barely missed it. I pull up and park right here. She's in the middle of the road there. Now, as you can see, this car, at least by US standards, is totaled. Here in Mexico, they kind of fix everything, so probably not. And most people don't have insurance here on their car. The police here are the same as always. They're concerned about filling their pockets, screwing people over. They're less violent, overtly violent and aggressive than police in the US, but they're still looking for them. So a couple other cars stop, and we're trying to figure out what to do. The woman's fine, as you can see, but these cars, they race through here. This is kind of the corridor here, right? Most people go 65 or 70, which is like 110, 120 kilometers an hour. But on a weekend night, it's totally normal for people to be doing 90 through here, 150 kilometers an hour, just screaming through. One of the reasons my footage actually sucks on this is we were trying to use our phones to flash people down. I was trying to flash the light and I temporarily turned the camera off because I wanted to save battery, which is why I don't have direct footage of what happened next, because it's good to document everything. A lot of times people get on your case for, if you have a camera running in an accident or something like that. They say you're looking for attention, you're looking to take advantage of other people's tragedy. The first thing I always do, even if it's down here at my side, I always turn a camera on, because you never know when the police are gonna come to try and screw somebody over, when you're gonna need evidence for insurance, or because somebody said someone did something that they didn't. Turn the camera on. That doesn't mean you need to be in people's face. You should still be helping people. You help people first, but you also turn the camera on, right? So if you have to, the camera might be recorded in your pocket if someone needs help. You don't ignore people needing help. You don't watch a guy getting choked. You intervene. And I think this is a mindset that activists really need to understand. We're human first. And that's the first thing that any real journalist needs to remember.
ayúdame.
Muchachos, ¿puedes ayudarnos? Vamos a poner ahí, ¿no? Dime, tomo un video en caso que te necesito. So here comes 3 more cars coming down the road, and I turn over, and this white car is coming down, just flying. And I start waving my light, trying to get this guy to slow down. He obviously wasn't paying attention. The cow you can see here is sitting right in the middle of the road. This guy hits the cow full on at probably 80 or 90 miles an hour. This white car, and the camera goes on 10 seconds after this happens right here. So this white car, he hits the cow. He's this high in the air with that car. So he took about a yard, 3 feet of air, flies up in the air, lands about 50 feet down the road, and the car is spinning around like this in the road. This is the moment where I'm just like, oh crap, it didn't work. We didn't have enough lights. People aren't paying attention on this road. The other car comes behind him and hits the cow, but a lot less because he had a second of warning, right? He saw something happen. So the little red SUV car is sitting there. We're trying to help the girl. We're trying to keep the other cars from hitting it. White car plows into the cow, full speed, full in the air, Dukes of Hazzard style, like spinning around. But he didn't land Dukes of Hazzard style and keep going. I run over to the white car to see if they're okay. And I'm like, this is just gonna keep getting worse. The cow was thrown, now dead, about 50, 60 feet down the road, but still in the road. And I'm like, okay, it's gonna be another one. We're gonna have a 20 car pileup, I'm thinking. Cops finally show up. The only thing useful the cops do is they have lights on their car, and so they can park on the road with the lights on, and people are actually going to slow down, right? So the cops, they park right over here kind of in front of the cow, so at least no one's hitting the cow. The cow at this point is right about here in the road. The cops park in front of that. A few minutes later, the fire department shows up. The fire department actually does something, and the fire department starts working to figure out how to get the cow out of the road and stuff like that. What's the first thing the cops do? Well, it's right here. It's in Spanish. The first thing the cops do is they come to the first girl in the red car that initially hit the cow and start trying to harass her, hoping they can get something on her.
Tarjeta de circulación, póliza de seguro. ¿Sí? La falta de algún documento, independientemente del accidente, vienen las sanciones administrativas. ¿Sí? ¿Y tiene aseguradora?
No.
Para que se hiciera cargo de los daños de su vehículo.
Sí, que realmente salió la...
No, es que yo fui ahí a su lado.
Sí, y
La
eso
vaca fue por ahí.
o sea, yo no.
Out of the 3 cars in the accident, I think only one of them actually had documents and insurance, because that's just normal in Mexico, that people just ignore these silly government rules where you're supposed to pay the government for everything. Obviously, a lot of people do, but a lot of people don't. They just can't afford it. By this time, some of this chica's cousins or something like that, or brothers, have shown up to try and help out. So I was glad she had somebody she knew that could help out, because the cops are over there and they're saying like, oh, look, where's your papers? We need your documents. And she was obviously nervous. And at this point, I interjected, whoa, 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 she just got in an accident. We're not gonna be harassing this girl. And there was no fight with the cop or anything like that. There was just kind of a firm statement where I pushed a little bit. No dije que ellos chingarte. No nos aguante eso. Hay suficientes problemas. Ellos debes ayudar, no hacer más
Y es que tú venías
problemas.
al lado, tuviste que no.
So as soon as the cops backed off a little bit, we're like, we need to get her car off the road. Because you know how it is. If your car is on the road, the police come and they're like, oh, it's on the road. Like, you have to get screwed over by our tow truck driver, etc. And they play the same game with tow truck. The tow truck drivers are total crooks down here, just like in the United States. They work with the police to tow your car. And the tow truck driver that's working with the police is going to charge you 3 times as much. It's a major scam. We grabbed her car before the police could do anything, and we pushed it down here onto a side road. In fact, we pushed it right to about where my car is here. Now it was off the highway, and it wasn't this visible thing that the police are like, oh, we can screw them over for this. So we had her car off the road. The right car, he didn't want any help. I think it was a work car or something. I don't know if he wasn't supposed to be using it or what was going on, but he was very like, you know, I don't want help. I don't want to be filmed. The other guy, who I think also didn't have any insurance, but he went up. His car wasn't totaled, and I checked on him when I left, and he didn't want any help either. He moved up about a 1/4 mile up the road away from the scene so that he wasn't connected directly with it and harassed by the police. But in the end, we didn't let the police impound this girl's car. Her brothers or cousins or whatever those guys were, they seemed to think that everything was fine at that point. Now, I usually come pretty prepared. I keep a compressor, I keep tools in my vehicles, all that. But the first thing I did that week is I went and bought these guys right here. And I'll put a link to some of these. These are USB rechargeable roadside flares. There's different modes, so you can turn this on. If we had had these, and I was so pissed, I know it wasn't my fault, but I could just as easily, if I had been accelerating slightly faster, I would have hit that cow instead of the girl. If these had been on the road, all those other cars would not have got this accident, because these are so visible at night. So now these are in the car, and I'm gonna link these. I'll link with my Amazon link if you wanna buy it from there and support the channel, and I'll put some of these in the comments. Not a month later, there was a motorcycle accident over here where I think a guy walked out in front of the motorcycle had kind of flipped down the road. There was people helping him, so I didn't do a lot in that. Even though people were attending to him, there was still no lights. And I was like, a truck's gonna come along here and cream all these people. And so the first thing I did is went and grabbed these and just put them in the road. And then when the ambulance and stuff finally got there, then you got other vehicles and they put them in the way. Pay attention on those dark roads, whether you're in Mexico or in the United States, because the cows aren't gonna wait for you. The other thing is, have those lights. That's what I was really kicking myself for in all of this, is like, wow, if I had had those stupid lights in there, there's highway lights right up the road here, but in the darkest area where people hit cows, they have no lights. And that's just typical government robbing us blind and pocketing the money instead of using it to actually improve, well, anything. Okay, so I just wanted to come out here and show you on the road what happened, because all the footage I had was dark. My dash cam, as always, failed, and it's right there. You can see I had this dash cam right here, and I was hoping I had footage. You know what I figured out on these dash cams? Roads tend to be rough. I had this problem in the States. Dash cams have always failed me. Here's what you want to look for in your dash cam. They have this gyro sensor thing where if it detects an impact, it puts the video in protected mode. And the idea is that if you get into a crash, it's going to save that video. The problem is that in reality, if you just hit a speed bump, it locks that video. Pretty soon the card is full of locked videos and it corrupts the card, or there's no room for any video. So it says it's on, but it's not actually recording, or it overwrites it in just minutes because it's all full of junk videos from the last time you hit a pothole. Turn off that gyro feature in your dash cam menu, because these dash cams are pretty much all the same. They all have the same crap, trashy sensors for the most part. There was a great video on Linus Tech Tips about how junky and how terrible these dash cam videos are, and talking about some of the better ones and some of the worst ones, and how mostly even the expensive ones are using garbage, tiny little sensors. There's these huge spiders that hang out in the trees at this time of year, are just freaking, they don't look that big, but they're huge. They're not actually dangerous, but they freak me out. Look at this. What? Yes, that's what I call shelob, okay? That's a shelob. Just kidding. I wouldn't do that, that's crass. I wouldn't make that the thumbnail, okay? What do you guys think I am, a photographer? That's good. Looking pretty fine. This side road where we pushed this car, I came back here to film this later. This is pretty cool. This is gonna be a great spot to do like photo sessions. It goes back here into the kind of the trees. Cow does more damage, but a spider is way more scary. All right, you guys, I think that's all. Long story short, keep some road flares or some LED flashing lights or something, because you never know when you or someone else is gonna need them. I think that's all.